I'm embarking on an epic adventure. From spectacular natural landscapes to the busiest cities in the world.
I'm in China to explore the treasures of this ancient civilization.
I find this really very special indeed.
To understand its culture and tradition that have lasted for thousands of years and which continue to shape this great nation.
I've really been looking forward to seeing this. And to truly understand the secrets of a country's soul, I think you need to immerse yourself in its art.
And it begins, my journey in Beijing, China's vibrant capital. First, I'll stop by Shanghai to witness an extraordinary cultural relic, a square sheng, a 2,000-year-old bronze measuring vessel that helped lay the foundations of the Imperial China. Then on to Shenyang, a city in northern China, to see one of the country's most cherished classical landscape paintings.
This is not how we look at paintings in the West.
I'm meeting one of my favorite Chinese contemporary artists, who reproduces traditional paintings in virtual reality.
I love that. It's fusing completely different cultures.
And visit a remote section of the Great Wall to see how drones are safeguarding the future of China's most famous landmark. I'm studying the time-honored links between art, nature, and technology. In China, landscape painting is considered one of the most important forms of artistic expression. I ventured into the woods in northern China to understand a fundamental philosophy of landscape painting during the 10th century, a golden age of Chinese culture. It's a concept called Woyou, which means wandering while lying down. Artists in this period were no longer content to just depict nature. They wanted to take their audience on a journey into nature through their paintings.
Chinese landscape paintings aren't meant to be real places. They're misty, magical and imaginary realms that offer the viewer some sort of spiritual solace. There was a great Chinese artist who I think put it brilliantly. He said, judging a painting by the accuracy of how it depicts the world is to display the understanding of a child.
After the fall of the Tang dynasty in the 10th century, 5 dynasties succeeded one after another in the Central Plain. It was a time of turbulence disfigured by war. Chinese artists wanted to find refuge into which their viewers could retreat, leaving behind the uncertainty of the reality and finding inner peace. I want to gain a deeper understanding of these artists, and naturally, that begins with appreciating their artworks. So, I'm heading to the Liaoning Provincial Museum in Shenyang, where I've received a very special invitation to view one of the oldest landscape paintings in China. The 1,000-year-old masterpiece is carefully safeguarded within the depths of the museum under tight security. Professor Huang Wei-li, with over 30 years of experience studying classical Chinese painting, will serve as my guide to Dong Yuan's masterpiece, awaiting the ferry at the foot of the mountain in summer. The artwork is incredibly delicate, to the point that even our breath could potentially damage it. I hope Professor Huang will guide me towards experiencing the true essence of Huoyuo, so my spirit can roam free within Dong Yuan's delicate masterpiece.
I find this really very special indeed. And it's not just because of the age of the scroll, but it's also because this for me is a revelation. This is not how we look at paintings in the West. In the West, you'd look at a single image with a single viewpoint, a single focal point, but here you have this ever-shifting, perpetually moving panorama, and your eye is drawn from one part of the image to another.
Given the time constraints of this viewing, our cameras cannot do justice to the intricate details and grandeur of this artwork. So, our graphics team have used high-resolution photographs to present the nuanced elements present in each section of this faded but still exquisite painting.
And the whole feeling here is one of, I think, tremendous well-being, tranquility, a sense of harmony in the natural world.
这就是它的典型特点，这种典型很平和、很广远的这种很典雅的这种风格，就是他开创的。他是表现中国南方山水的最早的开派人，确实这就是他最重要的事。证明这个山水是叫可以，就像生活在其中的一样，就是你就可以把你完全带入到这个景象里，仿佛你也在其中，你在打鱼，你在等着渡船，你在行船，就这样，就是让你身临其境，这就是中国画的妙处。要把感受写在里边，让你也感受得到，所以你今天就感受到很强烈。
Yet there is no question that you're sucked right into this scene, and there's this feeling of beautiful transportation in your imagination that you're suddenly in this landscape. I can sense the technique of this artist. All of the trees are painted with a very definite, a bolder, a darker use of ink. Then these wonderful mountains that disappear off into the background, into the distance, almost like clouds evaporating before our eyes.
For a few magical minutes, I too am waiting for that ferry at the foot of those mountains. The drama, as the painting is slowly revealed, really draws me in. But all too quickly, my viewing is over. To be honest, the time constraints make it difficult to immerse myself fully in Dong Yuan's beautiful landscape. To experience a more complete Huoyuo, we'll have to look elsewhere. The venerable techniques of traditional landscape painting are still taught in art academies all over China. However, one artist is merging this time-honored tradition with cutting-edge technology to reimagine Chinese landscape painting for the modern age. This is the Museum of Contemporary Art in Shanghai. I've come to meet one of my favorite Chinese artists.
Oh! Where am I? Somewhere else entirely.
This is Yang Yongliang.
Okay. Let me.
Ah, I can hear the birds. It's gorgeous. Oh, you can see all the way around, 360.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yes.
This gnarly old silhouetted tree, lots of mist, very peaceful.
Yes.
How long has it taken you to create this?
Take almost 1 year.
Ah, Look, there's a dragonfly.
Yes.
And I feel like I can hear the waterfall that's in the distance coming down off the mountain.
Oh, you already
Right, there's a stag.
Yes.
What's he doing here?
Yang Liang combines Chinese aesthetics with modern digital techniques.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
In this virtual reality piece, called Eternal Landscape, he combines images from 10th century landscape paintings with 360-degree panoramic digital imaging technology.
我第一次体验到 VR 的这种新的这种技术的时候，我第一个脑子里面的概念就是说，这个其实和中国的卧游的概念有一点相似的地方，就是它同样是可以你在一个固定的地方，但是你可以去另外一个空间，或者是去一次就是虚幻的旅行。
Did you train in the classical landscape painting tradition?
当然，我学习了长达10年左右的，就是在我很小的时候，我长达10年左右的，对书法还有绘画、中国山水画的一些训练。所以当我使用了现代的数字艺术的时候，我依然会用这个观念去贯穿在我的所有的作品当中。I want to build a bridge from ancient to the future. So I want to use the new technology to present old culture. I think this is my idea.
I really rather loved that whole experience. I was in one of those classical Chinese landscape paintings. I felt VR really, really worked because the technology perfectly matches the subject matter. That whole concept of Woyo, that's precisely what Yang Yongliang created in Eternal Landscape, this sense of a 360 fully immersive world where imaginatively you're transported to another place altogether.
Next, I have arranged a visit to the Shanghai Museum outside of its regular hours to see a remarkable artifact that's easily overlooked. I'll explore how the latest technology is used to safeguard the future of one of China's most awe-inspiring monuments, the Great Wall. In the 19th century, Shanghai was still a remote fishing village at the mouth of the Yangtze River. Today, its historical buildings are bathed in digital lights beaming from the futuristic towers with which they now share the famous waterfront. I've come to the city by the sea to explore the ancient links in China between art, nature, and technology. This is the Shanghai Museum, home to some of the country's most celebrated ancient artifacts. I've been invited to a late-night viewing of a humble but important treasure from China's first empire, the Qin dynasty. For many people, the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, is synonymous with his world-renowned terracotta army. Those eerie life-size clay soldiers buried deep within his massive tomb to protect him in the afterlife. But I'm here to see some artifacts that are far less famous, ancient relics that, according to Dr. Wei Xinying of the museum's research bronzeware department, gave the first emperor the power to unify ancient China in this life.
“然后呢，这个是这个方生，它是专门拿来这个 量这个容积的，然后呢，这个也是秦代的钱币，这些呢都是这个秦始皇统一度量衡的这个见证的文物。
So this dates from the very first year, the birth of the first empire.
正如这个您所说的，它上面讲的秦始皇26年，就是西元前221年，没有错，就是他立号为皇帝的那一年。
These feel to me like they're functional, relatively humble, everyday objects. With the coin, it's noticeable there are these two characters on either side of the square hole. What do they mean?
这个是半两，就是说呢，这个钱币重半两，相当于今天7.5克。
The historical significance of these weights and measures is that they ushered in a new era of standardization, so that the first emperor could control an essential commodity in ancient China, grain.
那么秦始皇他就是把这个度量衡跟钱币统一起来之后，所以他才能够使自己的国家变得非常的强大，所以也才能够就是创造出这么震撼人心的兵马俑。
This Qin dynasty standardization policy also made another important measure possible: taxation.
征税的话，他就必须要控制每一个人，他要从每一个人那里得到他的，譬如说农作物啊，然后他的各个方方面面的这个税收，所以他对他的这个人口的控制也是非常严格的。
For the first emperor, technology helped facilitate the most significant developments of the era, and his ambitions went beyond the control of grain, extending to text, currency, even the width of cart axles. His empire became so powerful that, according to some scholars, his name, Qin, came to represent the entire region, ultimately giving birth to the nation we know now as China. I'm traveling to Jiankou, a remote mountainous area 100 kilometers north of Beijing, where 21st century technology is being used to preserve one of China's most iconic monuments, the Great Wall.
This is my first time on the Great Wall of China, and it seems almost silly to say that it's spectacular because it's so conventional, but just have a look around because on every side you have these stupendous views, and then there's the structure of the wall itself, which is cavorting, cascading up and down across all of these knife-edge ridges and peaks like some sort of brick roller coaster. The whole thing feels somehow so improbable. Just think about how difficult it must have been to construct a wall at the top of the mountain. Much easier to do it at the bottom. But I love that. It's almost like in itself, it's an artistic statement, undulating through the heavens. Aesthetically, it's perfect.
The Great Wall of China is actually a series of fortifications built along the country's historical borders, the earliest sections of which date back to the time of the first emperor. This Jiankou section was built 1,500 years later during the Ming dynasty. Today, it's known as the Wild Wall because, in places, it's in a state of such disrepair that traversing it can be dangerous. A team from Peking University is taking part in an important project for the China Foundation for Cultural Heritage Conservation, using drones to protect the Great Wall.
Hello.
Hello.
So the drone's already up then?
Professor Zheng Jianwei leads the team.
What are you actually looking for with the drone?
So now we are making photogrammetry by taking hundreds of photos of the Great Wall and castle. And later we'll use software to create a 3D model. Now this is the castle that we are standing in, and it's a 3D model generated by software by using the pictures we photoed. That's the spot where we took panoramic photos.
Ah,
See?
look at that.
We also have very detailed images of every angle.
And is the goal to end up with the wall looking brand spanking new almost?
No, of course not. As you see, it's not new. We want to keep it in somehow a wild phase, but it's safe. We combine this old-fashioned and the new things together to make our conservation proposal. It always has to be there.
It's old and new always.
Yes, yes.
Just a few hundred meters away, the team's 3D models are helping construction workers to locate sections that are in urgent need of repair and restoration.
Has your respect for the wall, your admiration for it, has it increased?
I'm still very respecting it, of course. And I think not only by the technology itself, but also the planning and how it integrates with the landscape that astonished me very much.
As I leave the Great Wall, I'm reminded of what artist Yang Yongliang told me about his virtual reality landscapes. He said he wants to build a bridge connecting ancient China and the future, using new technology to reanimate history. It sounds like a very modern concept, but it's what Chinese engineers and artists have been doing for millennia. Next, I'll explore the ancient art of Chinese food. I'll visit an enormous 18th century jade carving inspired by a legendary king who battled raging floods. I'll journey to the Yangtze River Delta, where archaeologists have discovered a mind-blowing hydraulic system which helped to feed an ancient civilization that created stunning works of art more than 5,000 years ago.